You made a couple of payments.
Yes, ma'am. That were late.
Shh.
Revved up after a motorcycle sale.
You didn't pay her.
I told her I didn't have a job. She didn't say she wanted the money. She just said she wanted her bike back.
But will her anger backfire?
You had to pay her what you owed her.
Well, what she's saying I owe her is not the truth.
I want you to stop being argumentative with me.
This is Judge Judy.
Have you ever tried to outsmart Judge Judy and ended up with your own words twisted against you? Buckle up, because today we're diving into a wild ride from the Judge Judy courtroom with the case revved up after a motorcycle sale. This case is a high-octane mix of broken contracts, shady excuses, and Judge Judy's no-nonsense wrath that'll leave you stunned. Trust me, you won't believe the nerve of this defendant, and you'll be glued to your screen to see who gets the last word. Let's hit the gas and get started. In this case, we meet Ms. Power, a woman who's suing a former acquaintance. Let's call her Courtney. Over a botched motorcycle deal, Ms. Power sold Courtney a motorcycle for $3,600 with a written contract, spelling out weekly payments of at least $100 until the full amount was paid by May 15, 2020. Courtney put up her 2003 Mustang as collateral, which Ms. Power still holds. The drama? Courtney made just 2 payments, then stopped, claiming she lost her job. She kept the bike for a month without paying, returned it allegedly damaged, and now wants her car back. Ms. Power is suing for $5,000, while Courtney countersues, insisting she owes less and that her car's been mistreated. This isn't just a dispute over money, it's a clash of trust, responsibility, and some serious attitude in the courtroom. Let's set the scene. Ms. Power seems like a straightforward person who thought she was doing Courtney a favor by selling her the motorcycle on a payment plan. They'd met a few months earlier through a mutual friend, so there was some trust there. The contract was clear. $3,600, $100 a week, and the Mustang as collateral. Courtney, on the other hand, comes off as confident, maybe a bit too cocky, thinking she can talk her way out of this mess. She admits she stopped paying after losing her job, but insists Ms. Power agreed to work with her. Spoiler alert, Judy doesn't care about verbal side deals when there's a written contract on the table. Why is this case so gripping? It's not just about a motorcycle, it's about what happens when trust breaks down and someone tries to dodge accountability. The transcript shows Courtney arguing back, interrupting, and even laughing at one point, which is a bold move when you're facing Judge Judy. Ms. Power, meanwhile, is armed with a contract, photos of alleged bike damage, and a clear story. The tension in the courtroom is electric, and Judge Judy's about to drop some truth bombs that'll make you rethink ever signing a contract without reading the fine print. From my perspective, I'm already leaning toward Ms. Power. She did everything by the book, wrote a contract, held collateral, and trusted Courtney to keep her word. But I can't help but be intrigued by Courtney's nerve. She really thinks she can outtalk Judge Judy. Legally, this case hinges on the contract's terms and whether Courtney's breach stopping payments gives Ms. Power the right to keep the Mustang or demand the full amount. Psychologically, it's a classic case of overconfidence meeting cold reality. Courtney's excuses, like claiming Ms. Power flip-flopped on their deal, feel like a desperate attempt to dodge responsibility. The transcript gives us a front-row seat to the chaos. Early on, Judge Judy shuts Courtney down with a sharp she. When she tries to interrupt, she grills Courtney on payment dates, catching her in a tangle over whether she paid on September 5th or October 5th. By the time Courtney admits she kept the bike for a month without paying, you can feel Judge Judy's patience wearing thin. This case is a masterclass in how not to argue in court, and it's only going to get juicier from here. What's coming up? Next, we'll zoom in on the transcript's most explosive moments, like when Judge Judy compares Ms. Power to a Ford motor dealer, and Courtney's excuses start to crumble. We'll unpack the drama of Courtney's interruptions and Judge Judy's iconic one-liners that cut through the noise. Will Courtney's countersuit hold any water, or is she about to learn a hard lesson? Drop a comment. Have you ever been burned by a bad deal like this? Smash that subscribe button, and let's keep the engine running for more courtroom fireworks. Welcome back to our breakdown of the Judge Judy courtroom drama, revved up after a motorcycle sale. If you thought the setup was intense, hold on tight, because the courtroom exchanges are about to shift into high gear. We're diving into the heart of this case, where Ms. Power is suing Courtney over a $3,600 motorcycle deal that went off the rails. The transcript is bursting with fiery moments, And Judge Judy's razor-sharp questions are tearing Courtney's excuses apart. Let's unpack the most explosive exchanges and see how Judge Judy turns this dispute into a lesson in accountability. You'll be shocked at Courtney's boldness. Stay tuned for the fireworks. Let's refresh the stakes. Miss Power sold Courtney a motorcycle with a clear contract, $3,600, paid in weekly $100 installments, with Courtney's 2003 Mustang as collateral. Courtney made 2 payments, stopped after losing her job, kept the bike for a month without paying, and returned it allegedly damaged. Ms. Power wants $5,000, while Courtney countersues, claiming she owes less and her car has been neglected. The transcript reveals Courtney's confidence, bordering on defiance, but Judge Judy's not here for games. Let's zoom in on the moments that make this case a wild ride. One of the most gripping exchanges happens when Judge Judy drills Courtney on her payment timeline. Courtney claims she paid $100 2 days after taking the bike on September 3, 2019, and another $100 on September 13th. But she fumbles, first mentioning October 5th, then backtracking. Judge Judy pounces, "Well, you just told me you made a payment on October 5th. You can almost see Courtney's confidence crack as her story unravels. This is Judge Judy at her best, spotting inconsistencies and making the defendant squirm. It's not just about mixed-up dates. It's about trust, and Courtney's credibility is taking a hit. Then there's the moment when Courtney tries to justify keeping the bike for a month without paying. She says she needed a convenient time to return it, worried Ms. Power wouldn't return her Mustang. Judge Judy shuts it down with a killer line. She's the Ford Motor Company. She would have repossessed the motorcycle. This analogy is brutal. It paints Ms. Power as a professional creditor, not a friend cutting Courtney slack. Courtney fires back, saying, "I wouldn't have brought it back to her like I did either. Big mistake." Judge Judy's sharp she silences the room. The transcript captures the tension, and you can feel the audience leaning in. Another standout moment is when Courtney insists Ms. Power agreed to work with her via text messages. She said she was working with me. It's exactly what she said. Judge Judy demands to see the texts, and Courtney's claim starts to wobble. The transcript doesn't show the messages, but her desperate tone suggests she's grasping at straws. Judge Judy cuts through. "You breached the contract. She doesn't have to work with you." This exchange is a masterclass in how Judge Judy uses logic to dismantle flimsy arguments, and it's why this case is so addictive. Courtney's attitude amps up the drama. She interrupts Judge Judy repeatedly, even laughing when comparing the case to a Texas dealership. "I don't know how y'all do it over here, but here in Texas they keep that until you repossess it." The courtroom laughter is audible, but Judge Judy's not amused, snapping, "Shh," and warning, "If you do that again, I'm just going to dismiss your case." Courtney's either fearless or foolish, and it's making this case a treasure trove of drama. My take? She's sinking her own ship by talking over Judge Judy, but it's wildly entertaining. I'm floored by Courtney's nerve. Who keeps someone's property for a month, stops paying, and then plays the victim? But I get her angle. She's embarrassed and doesn't want to admit failure. Ms. Power, meanwhile, stays composed, answering clearly, "Yes, ma'am, the purchase price was $3,600. Her contract and calm demeanor make her case rock solid." The transcript shows Courtney's emotional appeals, like claiming she tried to communicate, but they crumble against the written agreement. Psychologically, Courtney's overconfidence is clashing with Judge Judy's cold logic, and it's a train wreck you can't look away from. Judge Judy's control is what makes this case shine. Every time Courtney veers off with excuses, Judge Judy reels her back with a pointed question or a stern warning. The transcript's "yes ma'am" from Courtney shows she's starting to buckle under pressure. But will she keep fighting? Or will Judge Judy's logic shut her down for good? That's what we'll dig into next. Coming up, we'll tackle the legal core of this case, how the contract's terms and Courtney's breach shape the outcome. We'll examine the evidence, like photos of the alleged bike damage, and why Judge Judy brushes off Courtney's countersuit. Will Ms. Power get her $5,000, or will Judge Judy throw a curveball? Drop a comment. Do you think Courtney's excuses have any merit? Hit that subscribe button, and let's keep rolling for more courtroom chaos. Let's keep the courtroom drama rolling with our deep dive into Revved Up After a Motorcycle Sale. From Judge Judy's iconic show, we've seen the sparks fly as Ms. Power sues Courtney over a $3,600 motorcycle deal that crashed and burned, with Courtney's excuses getting shredded by Judge Judy's razor-sharp logic. Now we're diving into the legal guts of this case, where the contract's terms, Courtney's breach and the evidence take center stage. The transcript is a goldmine of legal clarity, and Judge Judy's rulings are about to show why you can't dodge a written agreement. Stick around, because the truth is coming fast, and you won't want to miss how this unfolds. To recap, Ms. Power sold Courtney a motorcycle with a written contract, $3,600, paid in $100 weekly installments, with Courtney's 2003 Mustang as collateral. Courtney made 2 payments, stopped after losing her job, kept the bike for a month without paying, and returned it allegedly damaged. Ms. Power is suing for $5,000, while Courtney countersues, claiming she owes less and her car's been mistreated. The transcript shows Courtney's arguments crumbling, but let's break down the legal framework and evidence that seal her fate. The heart of this case is the written contract, and Judge Judy wastes no time laying it bare. The transcript has her confirming the details with Ms. Power. The purchase price was $3,600. You were going to pay a minimum of $100 per week until the full price was paid on May 15th. The contract is airtight signed, dated September 3, 2019, and backed by the Mustang as collateral. Courtney doesn't dispute signing it, but she tries to muddy the waters by claiming Ms. Power agreed to work with her after she lost her job. Judge Judy shuts that down. You breached the contract. She doesn't have to work with you. This is a legal slam-dunk. Verbal side deals don't override written terms, and Courtney's non-payment is a clear breach. Let's talk about that breach. Courtney admits she made 2 $100 payments on September 5th and September 13th, 2019, totaling $200. She then stopped paying, kept the bike until October 13th, and returned it without covering the 4 weeks she used it. Judge Judy calculates this as a $400 debt for those weeks, stating, "You had possession of the bike for a month. You owed her $400. Courtney tries to argue she only rode it for 3 weeks, but Judge Judy cuts her off. It may be even. If whether it was 2 weeks or 4 weeks, it doesn't make any difference. The transcript shows Courtney's own words confirming she kept the bike without paying, which is enough to prove her breach under contract law. The evidence is another nail in Courtney's coffin. Ms. Power brings photos of the alleged bike damage, described in the transcript as scratches on the light, clutch, and gas tank. Judge Judy examines them, asking, "Can you tell me what this is a picture of?" Ms. Power explains they show the bike's condition post-return, though she lacks photos from the sale date. Courtney counters that the bike wasn't perfect when she got it, saying, "That bike had been sitting there for months. It didn't look like that." But her vague claims don't hold up against Ms. Power's specific evidence, and Judge Judy seems skeptical of Courtney's story, especially since she keeps arguing instead of providing proof. Courtney's countersuit is where things get messy. She claims Ms. Power damaged her Mustang by leaving it exposed in a driveway, even asking, "Can I charge lot rent for where her car's been sitting?" Judge Judy dismisses this outright, saying, "You can't have it. You got your bike back." The transcript shows Courtney's countersuit lacks substance. She offers no evidence of damage beyond her word, and her request for lot rent feels like a desperate jab. Judge Judy's focus stays on the contract, not Courtney's side complaints, which is why the countersuit flops. From a legal standpoint, this case is a textbook breach of contract. A contract requires offer, acceptance, and consideration, all present here. Courtney accepted the $3,600 price, offered her Mustang as collateral, and agreed to weekly payments. Her failure to pay after September 13th violates the terms, giving Ms. Power the right to demand payment or keep the collateral. Judge Judy's analogy to a Ford motor dealer reinforces this. A creditor doesn't have to negotiate when you stop paying. My take? Courtney's job loss is unfortunate, but it doesn't excuse breaching a contract. She should have returned the bike immediately, not kept using it. I'm amazed at how Judge Judy keeps the focus on the contract despite Courtney's attempts to derail with emotional appeals. The transcript's repetition of "yes, ma'am" from Courtney shows she's cornered, but she still fights back, like when she says, "I brought her bike back on my own choice." Judge Judy's response, "You brought the bike back a month late," is a reality check. Psychologically, Courtney's defiance seems rooted in embarrassment. She doesn't want to admit she couldn't keep up. Ms. Power, by contrast, is methodical, sticking to the facts, which makes her case stronger. The transcript's details, like Courtney's admission of keeping the bike for a month, are damning. Judge Judy's questions, "When was your next payment? And on what date did you return the motorcycle?" trap Courtney in her own timeline. This case shows why evidence and clarity matter in court. Courtney's lack of text or receipts to back her "work with me" claim leaves her defenseless. It's a lesson in always documenting agreements, especially with acquaintances. Next, we'll explore the motives behind Courtney's actions and Judge Judy's final ruling. Why did Courtney think she could talk her way out, and how does Judge Judy balance fairness with firmness? Will Ms. Power get her full $5,000, or will the damaged bike claims complicate things? Drop a comment. Do you think Courtney's countersuit had any chance? Hit subscribe, and let's race toward the next chapter of this courtroom showdown. We're speeding deeper into the Judge Judy courtroom with revved up after a motorcycle sale, and the drama is far from over. Ms. Power's lawsuit against Courtney over a $3,600 motorcycle deal has already given us contract breaches, shaky excuses, and Judge Judy's razor-sharp takedowns. Now let's peel back the layers to explore the motives driving Courtney's bold defiance, my personal take on this chaotic case, and the logic behind Judge Judy's final ruling. The transcript is a treasure trove of human behavior under pressure, and you'll be stunned at how this case wraps up. Keep watching, this is where the rubber meets the road. Let's revisit the core of this dispute. Ms. Power sold Courtney a motorcycle with a written contract, $3,600, paid in $100 weekly installments, with Courtney's 2003 Mustang as collateral. Courtney paid $200, stopped after losing her job, kept the bike for a month without paying, and returned it allegedly damaged. Ms. Power wants $5,000, while Courtney countersues, claiming she owes less and her car has been mistreated. We've seen Courtney's arguments collapse under Judge Judy's scrutiny, but what's driving her, and how does Judge Judy tie it all together? First, let's dive into Courtney's motives. The transcript paints her as confident, almost defiant, as she interrupts Judge Judy and laughs off comparisons to a dealership. Why is she so bold? Psychologically, I think it's a mix of embarrassment and denial. Courtney likely felt humiliated by losing her job and falling behind on payments. Instead of owning up, she doubles down, claiming Ms. Power agreed to work with her and insisting she returned the bike on my own choice. Her line, "I brought her bike back on my own," suggests she wants credit for doing the bare minimum, returning property she wasn't paying for. It's classic deflection. She's trying to save face by painting herself as the reasonable one. Courtney's overconfidence also stems from her belief that her personal relationship with Ms. Power gives her wiggle room. The transcript shows they met months before through a mutual friend, so Courtney might have thought she could lean on that familiarity. Her claim that Ms. Power flip-flopped via text messages, it's exactly what she said, feels like a desperate attempt to rewrite the narrative. But Judge Judy's laser focus on the contract shows that personal ties don't trump legal obligations. Courtney's motive seems to be avoiding accountability, hoping her charm and sob story will soften the blow. Spoiler, it doesn't. On the flip side, Ms. Power's motives are straightforward. She trusted Courtney, set up a clear contract, and held the Mustang as collateral. When Courtney stopped paying, Ms. Power stood her ground, bringing evidence like photos of the bike's alleged damage. The transcript shows her calm responses like, "Yes, ma'am." The purchase price was $3,600, which contrasts with Courtney's frantic arguments. Ms. Power's goal isn't revenge, it's justice. She wants what she's owed, and her methodical approach makes her case rock solid. Psychologically, she's the wronged party who refuses to be taken advantage of, and I respect her for standing up. My personal take? I'm Team Ms. Power all the way. She did everything right, wrote a contract, kept records, and stayed composed in court. Courtney, on the other hand, baffles me. How do you keep someone's property for a month, stop paying, and then argue you're in the right? Her nerve is almost admirable, but it's reckless against Judge Judy. I feel a twinge of sympathy for her job loss, but that doesn't justify breaching a contract or trying to outtalk a legal legend. This case is a reminder to always honor your agreements, especially when someone's trusting you with their property. Now, let's unpack Judge Judy's ruling logic, which the transcript lays out crystal clear. She awards Ms. Power $3,400, stating, "Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $3,400. Why this amount? Courtney paid $200, leaving $3,400 of the $3,600 contract. Ms. Power's $5,000 claim included extras like a helmet and mileage. But Judge Judy dismisses those. That should have been in the contract. Her ruling sticks to the written terms, ignoring verbal claims or emotional appeals. Courtney's countersuit for her Mustang's condition gets no traction. Judge Judy orders she's coming to pick up her car within 5 days, effectively ending the dispute. Judge Judy's logic is rooted in contract law. Courtney breached by not paying, so Miss Power is entitled to the remaining balance. The transcript shows Judge Judy's frustration with Courtney's interruptions, like when she snaps, "I don't want you to speak." By focusing on the contract's terms, $3,600, $100 a week, Mustang as collateral, she ensures fairness. The damaged bike claim doesn't sway her, likely because the evidence, photos of scratches, isn't strong enough to justify extra damages. Her ruling balances Miss Power's right to payment with Courtney's right to her car, cutting through the drama with surgical precision. What makes Judge Judy's approach so compelling is her ability to strip away excuses and focus on facts. When Courtney tries to argue about her car's condition, saying, "There is so much damage done," Judge Judy brushes it off. "You got your bike back. We're done." The transcript's finality, "Parties are excused," signals that Judge Judy's word is law. This case shows why she's a courtroom icon. She doesn't let emotions cloud justice, and her rulings are lessons in accountability. Next, we'll wrap up with the big lessons from this case and reflect on why it's such a gripping slice of Judge Judy magic. What can we learn about contracts, trust, and standing up for ourselves? And how does this case stack up against other courtroom dramas? Drop a comment. Do you agree with Judge Judy's $3,400 ruling, or should Miss Power have gotten more? Smash that subscribe button, and let's cruise toward the final stretch of this wild ride. We've reached the finish line of our deep dive into Revved Up After a Motorcycle Sale. From the Judge Judy courtroom, and what a wild ride it's been. This case, with Miss Power suing Courtney over a $3,600 motorcycle deal gone wrong, delivered drama, defiance, and Judge Judy's unmatched ability to cut through the noise. From Courtney's shaky excuses to Miss Power's airtight contract, the transcript gave us a front-row seat to a legal showdown that's both entertaining and eye-opening. Let's wrap up with the big lessons, my final thoughts, and why this case is a must-watch. Stick around, you'll want to share your take on this one. Let's recap one last time. Miss Power sold Courtney a motorcycle with a written contract, $3,600, paid in $100 weekly installments, with Courtney's 2003 Mustang as collateral. Courtney paid $200, stopped after losing her job, kept the bike for a month without paying, and returned it allegedly damaged. Ms. Power sued for $5,000, while Courtney countersued, claiming she owed less and her car was mistreated. Judge Judy awarded Ms. Power $3,400, dismissed Courtney's countersuit, and ordered the Mustang returned within 5 days. The transcript showed Courtney's arguments collapsing under Judge Judy's relentless logic, making this case a masterclass in accountability. So, what's the big takeaway? First, always get it in writing. Ms. Power's contract was her golden ticket. Without it, Courtney's claims of a verbal work-with-me deal might have muddied the waters. The transcript highlights Judge Judy's focus on the written terms. Like when she says, "That should have been in the contract," shutting down extras like mileage or a helmet. This case screams, if you're lending money or selling something, put every detail on paper. It's your shield when trust breaks down, and trust me, it can break fast. Don't let emotions override obligations. Courtney's job loss was tough, but keeping the bike for a month without paying was a choice, not a necessity. Her defiance in court, interrupting with lines like, "I brought her bike back on my own," shows she was more focused on saving face than owning her. Mistake. Judge Judy's response, "You brought the bike back a month late," is a reality check we all need sometimes. Whether it's a friend, family, or stranger, a deal is a deal, and feelings don't change the rules. Third, evidence is king. Miss Power brought a contract and photos, even if the damage claim didn't fully stick. Courtney had nothing but her word, and her vague countersuit about the Mustang's condition fell flat. The transcript's moment where Judge Judy demands, "Show me," for Courtney's alleged text is a reminder. If you can't back it up, you're sunk. Whether you're in court or just settling a dispute, bring receipts, texts, or anything that proves your case. My final thoughts. This case is peak Judge Judy drama, logic, and a fair ruling that leaves you nodding in agreement. I admire Ms. Power's composure and preparation. She's a role model for standing up for yourself. Courtney, though, her boldness was entertaining, but her refusal to take responsibility was her downfall. I can't help but laugh at her lot rent comment talk about grasping at straws. Judge Judy's $3,400 ruling feels just right. Ms. Power gets what's owed. Courtney gets her car, and nobody walks away feeling cheated. It's a clean resolution to a messy situation, and that's why we love Judge Judy. Why does this case matter? It's not just about a motorcycle, it's about trust, responsibility, and the consequences of breaking your word. We've all been in situations where someone didn't hold up their end of a deal, whether it's money, time, or promises. This case resonates because it's relatable, and Judge Judy's no-nonsense style makes it a lesson you won't forget. The transcript zingers like "She's the Ford Motor Company" are pure gold, blending humor with hard truth. Compared to other Judge Judy cases, this one stands out for its clear legal focus. Unlike family disputes with emotional baggage, this is a straightforward contract breach, but Courtney's attitude adds the drama we crave. It's less about personal betrayal and more about professional accountability, which makes it a great case for anyone learning about contracts or small claims court. Plus, who doesn't love watching Judge Judy put a talkative defendant in their place? So, what's the call to action? Drop a comment. Do you think Judge Judy's ruling was fair, or should Miss Power have gotten the full $5,000? Have you ever been burned by a bad deal like this? Hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss our next Judge Judy breakdown. We've got more courtroom chaos coming your way. Share this video with anyone who needs a reminder to get it in writing, and let's keep the conversation going. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one for more truth, drama, and Judge Judy's epic rulings.
You can't have it.
What about the
You can't-
damages?
You can't have it. You got your bike back. You get your car back. We're done.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor.
Parties are excused. You may step